Hello everyone, it's James again. I will just intuitively make another video to share with you. I ask you forgiveness for any mistakes. It is just a fact that I do not know how much time I still have. I'm not that well right now, but it's not that important. I may share about that later, but maybe it's not necessary for you to understand the method I'm explaining. So in the previous video, I have introduced you to the practice of asking a question or affirming something and then observing the first inner thought that arises to that first call. That's it. That's a call. I would say it's a call and response. So even if I say something like, I could say anything I want to. I'm just calling it call, but it could be anything. I'm not calling on anybody. So I could even say, I could say, I am good at explaining. Yes, I am is the first answer, but then there's a resistance at the end of it that still looks like it's belonging to that answer, and then I can look at that sequence that I have observed afterwards and ask certain questions. So, the asking of only a question and then receiving the first answer or affirming something will bring about results, but maybe not very quickly, and it might just be rather frustrating, and it can help to go a step further. So again, this is something that will work for you if you have a capacity to imagine. That is common. Usually we grow up and we are learning to navigate in the world by playing games and by imagining things. So just remember or become aware of how you have been imagining worlds as a child. Or actually, we're still doing that if we just think about fantasy novels. Think about reading a book. You need to conceptualize the content. So you need to be able to have an imagination to read a book. And even a movie, how come you would ever accept a movie about spaceships flying around where there are some sort of, lizard-like beings on there, even though you've never seen a lizard-like being, or a film, a comic movie, a lizard-like being that flies in a spaceship and has a human intelligence, and that is, or that is, according to the movie, beyond human intelligence, and they have special weapons they have developed or have a mission to fulfill or whatever it is, and that's just illogic, isn't it? That's irrational, isn't it? No, yes or no, I don't know. But it's part of your imagination. You can imagine such a being, therefore you can conceptualize it. If your mind was not able to even process a movie about a spaceship with aliens in it, you couldn't. It could not be part of your experience. Like you couldn't be aware of it because you couldn't see it. Even if it was there, like if you can't conceptualize, it's not there. It's like if you can't see the color blue, because your eyes are not made for it, you're not going to see it. And the same as with the inner imagination. Just become aware of comics. Yeah, there are just a comic, and there's a duck that is speaking in human words to another duck or a mouse or something. That's just nonsense. Because have you ever seen a duck with a hat on talking to another duck, and they wear suits or something? Like that's just imagined, right? And that is an expression of how much you can imagine things. And why would you read a comic about a duck talking with a mouse or with, I don't know what, a dog or something? And they sort of talk in that comic as if they were citizens of a city. They walk around and they have conversations and go on adventures or something, and they all have the different characters, and they can drive a car and whatever, and they have human hands. Like that's just not realistic. So why the heck would you read a comic that is completely unrealistic, that is not relating directly to your outward experience? Well, because you can take a step back from your everyday reality and think something on another level, and that may help you then process your experience and to find better solutions. That's the reason for playing to a certain degree, and the method I'm using is can also be used in the same way. So we can learn how to navigate in our lives, we can learn how to come in contact with emotions, and we can talk about matters on a different level so that we can take a step back, we can relax, it's not as real. A talking duck with a suit on and a hat or something is not very daunting to me at least. Depends on the kind of comic. I know certain comics with ducks in there, and they're not very scary. So no, they were not. I was ready to read that stuff about it rather funny at the time or something. And that just helps to think about our lives. And it is the same for dreams. So in dreams we process our daily experience, and we don't need to bother in our dreams as much about the law of gravity or is a phenomenon realistic in terms of, could there be a camel talking to me or something in a dream? In a dream that's possible. And we can basically access the dream reality via the method I'm presenting. It's not the only way, but it is a way to do that. And this is actually very simple and very easy. You can achieve that very easily. And I think that's better. But yeah, that's maybe a better perspective. But no, I'll stay like this. And you just, it's basically just about asking for it. You ask, like, what would it take for me to actually dream in the waking state in a very helpful way and a very safe way? Wake up, for example. So first answer I get it, first word is wake up. There's also a slight, when I was asking the question, there's always a slight feeling of anxiety. So it seems like I have something that's ready to be looked at, yet unresolved. And I can just keep on asking, and the more I do this, the more the mind searches for solutions and for answers. And that questioning already can bring about great results, by all means. And we can go further than that, and just ask, I can now ask, okay, if my different, I even like start to stutter, so that I need to become aware of that as well. Yeah, I become very I have a fear that I have, stuttered and said a word by accident that is embarrassing, that you may say, okay, you're ridiculous or something. I don't know, I'm scared like that. So I can look at that, I start talking about the dream reality, I become insecure. I'm here, I'm in a hostel's kitchen, so people are walking in and out of place, it might be connected to that as well. So what I'm talking about seems to be not 100% clear to me in terms of what is it I want to achieve, and also is it ready for the public. That's the thing, is I will post that possibly on YouTube, what I'm sharing with you here, so it will also be public. So I need to bring to my awareness that feeling of fear. And what's up? Yeah, I'll just continue. I think I'll just keep this video, but I think it's a little bit too noisy. I need to find another place. I actually heard now there's another place in the hostel where I can continue to record. But nevertheless, the practice is just about. I'll stay with my first example. I need to pick now a good example. I could say, what would it take for me to be in good health? That's more important than the dream reality. Just that you can see how I work this out. And you can use this if you have a blockage and you can't imagine things. Then just be aware of it. That you have the impression you can't do this, and then work with that, and just ask a question daily. Let your mind's going to work with this in the subconscious. You will process it in your sleep. You will have different situations, and your mind will become familiar with the subject. The more you bring your awareness to something, the more clarified it will be. That's a rule for anybody. There are always exceptions to the rule, but don't come to too quick conclusions just zone out of the exercise. I recommend to work on it and really say, I might just be traumatized, and there was a reason for me to give up my happiness and to give up on creativity and give up on imagination in order to be safe in an environment, because people found that scary if I would have had a huge imagination, and or if I would be very healthy and very well in my case. That's it, because I'm not that well at the moment, and I just want to share with you the practice I have developed so that you can benefit from it. And if I don't turn out to be that well and can't explain to you my practice anymore, then at least you have an attempt of me to describe it, and that contains enough information for you to work with all of it. So that might have been a too long speech now. I'll re-record that and try to simplify and summarize, but I'll still work on this. I'll keep this about 15 minutes or longer. So what you can do, I say now, if my wish to be more healthy and more well, if that would be, I'll start with something exciting. If that would be a being of fantasy, which one would it be? If my wish to be healthy would be a being of fantasy, which one would it be? Okay, I got the image in the foreground was a wizard. He looks like a wizard in a long grey coat. And it seemed like there were three. The first answer was actually 3 images. That's what it looked like. And now I can basically, the way I do this is that I just start talking with those beings. And then it's in my mind. It's really like a dream or like a game, and I can just talk with them and say, okay. I just remember that image that showed up, and I say, okay, how are you doing there? Give luck to people, give luck. What does that mean? Like, can you ask the question, how are you doing? It's brilliant. I'm not wanting to share that, I'm saying. And why do you not want to share how you're feeling? Because it's not relevant. And what's relevant now, that you give the practice to people is good. Thanks. And do you have any advice to me? Give it some discretion. What's discretion? Don't destroy yourself by offering too much private stuff. And what does that mean? Yeah, showing vulnerability is good, but not if you make yourself easy to be hurt. So in those terms, what do you recommend for me to do about the video right now? Give lux? What do you mean that I don't need to talk like a regular person? And what do you mean by give lux? I don't need to bother about my future vision. I just need to bless it, and it's going to be all right. And what do you say about the other beings that to your left and to your right? Okay. And what do you say? What are you going to say? Yeah, okay, they say don't include this. Why should I not include this? It's too much information. Okay, they think it's too much information. So I have those dream images. I mean, that might sound like really, to you, you might say, oh, well, like he's imagining that, like is he super gifted, or is he crazy, or is he a danger to, what is it? What can I be a danger to, what you say? I'm just talking to, is it again? The enemies, right? And who are the enemies? Nobody here, yeah. And what do you recommend then? Don't bother about them, good. And apart from that, I'm not your wise teacher. Good, well, fair enough. And so that's how I can bring my questions about health to another level and find other solutions. And so I get that, but I can do all sorts of things. I can ask for situations, I can ask for beings. Now I get like a very strong energy here. Who is that? Can you please come in? Yeah, what do you say? Stop it. And what do you recommend then? Just give that to people, that's enough. Give this to the people, it's going to be all right. And the thing is that I don't need to believe that. He's a little bit firm there. I don't think that was that good. It's sort of like as if he would have taken my hand there. And say, stop it, it's enough. So he's very like enthusiastic. And don't need to believe that that visit exists. It's just my imagination. And I've worked on that, and over time, I was able to get that imagination back, because I had it in the past. And then I lost it to the world, or something. But anyway, I might stay with his advice and stop it.